In this video, we're going to model a simple cabinet here. This thing could be modified to become just a bookshelf or a TV stand or something like that. I've got the reference image here, and you can grab that on the Zero Bio Patreon. It's free. I'll leave a link in the description, and you can follow along with me if you want. I brought it in and I pressed S3 to scale it 3 times, and then I moved it back on the Y, and I pressed G to position it with my 3D cursor right there to try and center it up. So we're going to model against this. It won't be exactly the same as the reference image, but we'll use it as a guide. All right, so I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh Plane, go into edit mode by pressing Tab and press SX to scale it in the X, and just move it out to about there. Maybe SX, bring it in just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to pull this down here to the bottom, and I'm going to press E to extrude, but I'm actually going to come up a little higher than that. I feel like it should be a little thicker compared to the side, so we're already off the diagram. A to select it all, and now I want to give it some depth this way, so I'm going to press SY and just pull it out and just do whatever feels right. Okay, back into object mode. The next thing I'm going to do is come to the wrench, to the modifiers, and I'm going to add a bevel. And I'm going to change the amount to 0.01, and that is going to be just fine. However, let's make sure it's not flipped by coming up here. Face orientation, it's blue, so we are good to continue. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we'll do this side piece and the middle one and that one. So let's take this and Shift D to duplicate that. And I'm going to go into edit mode and rotate 90, and then press G and just pull it down. And we're going to pull it down under here, but we're going to make it a little narrower, and then we'll line it up in just a moment. Go into wireframe, and I'm going to border select. Actually, I don't need to. I can just SX, can't I? All right, I'm going to press SX and scale it in like this, and then press GX, slide it over. That's pretty good. That's fine with me. Let's just have a look at this. All right, so we now need to pull it in so that this thing overlaps it. So let's press SY and just look at it and say, maybe around that much. We can get it sort of equal. Doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that's probably just fine. Okay, so we'll have that. The only thing is, I think I want to make it just a little bit thicker than that. I'm going to go with that. All right, let's go into wireframe, press B and select the bottom there, and just pull that up to around here. We'll figure out exactly how far down later. All right, so with that there, and my 3D cursor is there, but you know what? I had better, let's go back to solid. I had better select that and Shift S, cursor to selected, in case my 3D cursor was a little bit off. So let's take this now and set the origin to the 3D cursor, make sure my gizmo is right on there, and then we can add a mirror, and it'll be in the X, and it'll go there. And we should be relatively close to the diagram. All right, let's do the middle one. Let's just come in here, and let's just Shift D to duplicate, pull it out. Let's get rid of the mirror, then go into edit mode, and slide it over, and try to get it as close as we can. We can use this to help us. We can go G, X, and just sort of get it there. You can see that it sort of overlaps the drawer area, although it's going to be in behind, and so we'll see how we do with that. So we have those. Next, we're going to do, there's a piece of wood here, and obviously here, and then at the bottom, and then we have the base. So let's take this, and let's just duplicate it and pull it down like that. Let's go into edit mode and wireframe. And maybe we'll do it this way. Let's border select the bottom, pull it up to about here, and then it's going to be too wide. And I think we're going to have this on the inside of this piece here. So let's do this. Let's first of all, let's do this. Let's turn on snap right here where the horseshoe is. Change that to vertex and grab those, pull them in, and then pull them back, hold control, and sort of hover over one of these points on here. Now, when the bevel is on, it's a little more confusing, but it's, it looks like a piece of wood in there. That's fine there. And come over here in wireframe, border select these, pull them over, and then hold control and hover over that, and it'll snap to there. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to come in and maybe we'll select this face. And I'm going to snap it to there. First, actually, I'll come back to here, and then I'll press G, Y, and hold control. I'll snap it to there for now, but I'm not sure if it's going to stay there or go back further. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to select that face, pull it past, and then I can snap. Doesn't matter exactly which. We'll fix up the back in a little bit. So that piece is in there. We'll also be getting rid of some pieces. All right, let's Shift D and duplicate and just pull one down. It does feel a little bit thin, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it just down a little bit. And then I'm going to go into wireframe, make sure I'm in edit mode. And I will border select just the top vertices, pull them up. I will be getting rid of faces very soon. We'll talk about that in a while. So, yeah, okay, something like that. All right. At any rate, let's Shift D to duplicate and pull it down to here or so. Just right in there. Let's do another one, pull it down. We're going to have to think about pushing some of these back. Shift D to duplicate, another one down here. Okay, let's see how those all look. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's just look at the diagram for a minute. You can see this one is pushed back, this sort of shelf, whereas this one kind of supports the drawers, and this one, I don't know, just at the bottom. So I'm thinking that I would take this face, I mean, for now, I'm just going to push it back like that, and that's all good. Let's get to work on the back and then getting rid of some faces. So how to do this? Well, let's take this piece, Shift D to duplicate, let's pull it out, go into edit mode. I do a lot of my rotating and scaling in edit mode. Rotate X 90. We're going to take that. Just before I carry on, I just want to look and see everything's blue. That's great. All the polys are facing outwards. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull this in. I'll pull it down just a little bit easier, and I'm going to snap it to the corner here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull it back a little bit, and I'm going to try to snap to there. Now let's not worry about these yet. All right, I'm going to take this face here and I'm going to pull it up to the top corner. This is going to be removed in a minute. All right, let's take the bottom, and that's going to come all the way down to the bottom one there. So that's going to be in there. Now I think it's time we start thinking about this. I'm going to take this face and I'm going to need to move these in a little bit. So maybe I'll grab all of these, okay, which is a nice feature of Blender. I'm holding Shift and I'm selecting them, and I'm going to just push them in, and while they're in, I'm just going to X faces, get rid of those faces. There's going to be more to get rid of as well, but and this one I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to push it in. It's kind of in between in the thickness of this right now. Now that I did that, I better come back to this, select that face and X faces. So we've removed the back faces. I'm going to turn on the shadow now. And maybe I'm not going to turn on the shadow now. Just thought it would be easier to see. Okay, I'm just going to bring that back. Okay. So before we go on, we might as well start thinking about getting rid of some faces. And again, these positions may have to change a little bit. So the back of this is not going to show, and I think we got rid of, let's just focus on that, slash key. We got rid of the back. The sides are not going to show either, so we'll get rid of those. And that makes this very easy to unwrap. You know, you could just unfold it kind of. So we've done that one. I'm going to hide it just so I can remember. In fact, I can do this quickly. All of these are going to lose their backs and their sides. So let's just slash key to to focus on that. I've already got rid of the back, so let's get rid of all of these sides. Because this will take up space on the UV, and we don't want to waste space on the UV, and they're not necessary. Okay, so we've done that. And this one, let's slash key. We don't need the top or the bottom on this one, or the back. The back's already gone. So really easy to unwrap as well. And these ones right here, I will only get rid of, do they show up in the back at all? Yeah, they show up in the back, but the top won't be seen, and probably the bottom too. So let's just, for now, we'll get rid of that, and that's mirrored, so we'll do that. Okay, so am I missing anything? So I did that one, we'll see. Okay, so we've got the back on there, everything's going good. Let's make sure we save once in a while, and let's do the bottom piece, and then we'll do the drawers and all of that. All right, so my 3D cursor is still right there in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a circle, and I might go for something like 22 vertices. It doesn't have to be too high, but you know, make it nice. And I guess I just moved it crazily. So rotate X 90 and scale it down, press G. And what we're going to do is we're going to line it up with this curve. Now I kind of wish I had more vertices. I make it a little bit smaller, then we can do that. And what I'm looking for is a vertex that I could extend out this way, and a vertex I could extend out that way. So just keep scaling it and positioning it until you have something that you like. And that seems to work. Let me just do this, try that. No. I think I was better off before. Just about there. So I want to keep these vertices. So this one, hold Control and click. Control and click. Let's get rid of those and see if there's anything else. No, those are the ones I want to keep. And you can still scale it a little bit if you need to. You'd rotate it a bit, whatever. All right, I'm going to take this vertex and I'm going to press E to extrude, pull it out to here. And maybe I'll move the whole thing a bit. Take this vertex and I'm going to start extruding it towards the middle. It's not on the diagram perfectly, but it's not bad what we have. Okay. At the middle point, I'm going to mirror this, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a mirror. And there it is, you can see. So I want those to join. And so what I'll do is I'll select that and I'll turn on clipping and I'll pull it to the middle and it'll hit the other one. We'll have that. Let's just move it out in front. It's a little hard to see what's going on. So, you know, hopefully that's good enough. You can, you know, keep repeating until you get a better curve if you want a better curve, but I'm going to go ahead and apply it. And then this vertex is not necessary really, so I'm going to X dissolve vertices. A to select it all. I'm going to press E to extrude and pull up in the Z. Straighten this out by pressing SZ0, go into wireframe, and pull it down to where you need it around there. Okay. All right, I'm going to give this a position roughly out in front. We can change this. Let's press E to extrude and pull it back and try to get it roughly equal between the front and the back. And something like that. And then, let's see, we could look at the sides. Maybe I could select this face and I could select this face. Zoom in and press SX. Just pull it a little bit. Something like that. Now these should all have the bevel on it, so I'm going to click on this one, hold Shift and click on that one last and go Control L, copy modifiers, and you'll get the last one there. Now let's check that it's not flipped. Oh, and we have part of it flipped. Go in, Alt N, recalculate outside, and save after this. So we're doing good. Let's do the drawers now. Okay. I'll go into wireframe and I'll Shift A, mesh plane, rotate X 90, press 1 for vertex selection. I want to see that. Press G and just move the whole square over to about there. And then make sure we get both of these and slide it over here. We're going to mirror this over. Let's just move it out in front. But we want to make sure that there's a little bit of a gap between them so that it looks like two drawers, and I think that's probably all right. So that's that. Let's grab these, pull them down to around here. Yeah, something like that. Let's give it a try. Let's give this some thickness by extruding backwards. I'm going to press E and just gesture in the Y. Not too thick, something like that. Might be flipped, so let's go Alt and recalculate outside. And let's grab something and Control L, copy modifiers to get the bevel on there. Is that thick enough? I'm going to scale in the Y, make it a little bit thicker. Okay. Slash key to focus on that. Come back here. Select this back face, and let's make the drawer part. Shift D to duplicate. Just pull it out. P to break it out, so we have that as a separate object, just easier. Let's press Control 1 to look from the back and go into edit mode. Scale it in the X so that it's a little bit, in, not too much, whatever you think. 2 for edge selection and select that. Pull it down a little bit from the top and pull it up just a little bit from the bottom as well. All right, let's give this a try. E to extrude and gesture back. 3 for face selection, select that face and the front face and delete them. And now what we'll do is we'll bring everything back, press 3 to look from the side and go to wireframe. And you can take this, we're going to be pushing it on here. And then you can also take this and we can move them back and imagine, okay, say the drawer's there. All right, and then we can say, let's grab this and let's pull it back. You don't have to go all the way back. And just, in case you pull it out a bit and you want it to seem right. Now I'm going to select that, and if we can, we're going to select that as well. And we'll pull it out to work on it out here. And I want to give this some thickness, so I'm going to use, I'll just use solidify, generate solidify, and I'm going to move it inwards, so I'll figure out which way that is. That's going in. It's a little hard to see, so we'll come over here and you can see the thickness here. And I'm going to try to match that thickness to some extent. Anything's probably okay. Something like that's fine. I'm going to apply solidify. And now what I'm going to do is slash key on this because we don't need, I shouldn't have applied it yet. We have a problem. Don't apply it yet. Turn on even thickness. Slash key, let's look at that. That's better. Apply that, and now select this face, and this one, and delete them. I'm not going to delete any other faces in case the drawer comes out. And I'm going to take this, and I just want to make sure that it makes contact there. I think that's good. And I can take both of those and I can Control J. They have the same bevel, so I can join those. And I will do a merge by distance, merge by distance, just in case. Usually when I merge things, I'll do that. So let's just see what that looks like. All right, so we have that. Good. That will, of course, get mirrored over to the other side. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, there's enough space in between, so that's great. The next thing I need to do is make a knob. So I may make the knobs the same size, or I might make them different. I'm not sure. They have to be smaller to fit on here, so I might make a smallish knob. So I'm going to select this face, Shift S, cursor to selected, bring my 3D cursor there, and then I'm going to bring in a circle, and I'll go with 22 vertices. That's totally fine. Scale it down. If I want, I can look at the diagram. I'll be a little bit off the diagram. Rotate X 90. So I'm just going to do it according to how I feel. So let's do that. I can make it a little bit bigger, and again, this may have to be changed. So what I'm going to do is, it's hard to build it going into the drawer. I'm going to build it backwards. E to extrude. I sometimes do this. Give it some thickness like that. I to inset, pull in, and then E to extrude to make like the post. X faces, we'll get rid of that. Now let's do some beveling. 2 for edge selection. Shift Alt and click that edge first, and Control B. And pull, and there's 2 edges going around. Roll up your mouse for 3. Now I'm going to select this edge. I'm holding Shift and Alt, and then Control B, pull, but I want a bigger bevel, and I'm going to roll up 2 times, so it's a total of 5 edges going around like that. It's a little smoother. Take that, I can shade smooth. Take the whole thing now, and because I built it backwards, I'm going to rotate it. Rotate X 180. And that was easy. Push it on. Just have a look at that. Let's make sure nothing is flipped. Yeah, the knob is. So Alt-N, recalculate outside, and we are good to go. Now, this has a bevel, and of course I will be shade smooth. We'll have some shading errors, and what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to get rid of the mirror actually for now. I'm going to be adding normals, weighted normal. This still has a bevel on it, this doesn't. If I take this and hold Shift to and click on that and Control J, I lose my bevel. But I want this knob associated with this, so I will be parenting it to this. But for the moment, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to work on the door here, and then we'll come back to that. So I'm going to bring it a plane, go into Edit Mode and Wireframe, rotate X 90, and press 1 for vertex. I'm going to grab this and pull it down and try to line it up with that door like that. I'm going to grab the bottoms and pull it to here. It's a little hard to tell what we're looking at. We're looking at this thing here. And then I'm going to grab these and pull them into there. No. The problem is this door that we're looking at here is actually rotated out a little bit. It's hard to tell. But so we actually need to take these and pull them kind of like the drawer, very close to the middle, so that when we mirror this, we'll have one. And if you want to make this exactly the same width as the door, you can, but I don't think it's the drawer. I don't think it's that important. So let's start with this and see how it goes. Pull it out a little bit, and I'm going to do this a little bit by eye. I'm going to press I to inset, pull it in until at least it lines up on this side here. Then I know it's equal everywhere. X faces. So I have this. All right. Cool. I'm going to extrude back, E to extrude, pull it back a little ways, don't make it too thick. Take it, Alt-N, recalculate outside, and let's put the bevel on it. Select that, select something else with the bevel, Control L, copy modifiers. So we've got that. And now we're going to make the little slats of wood that go inside. Select this bottom face there, Shift D to duplicate, pull it down, P to break it out. Take this and I'm going to extrude up a little ways like that. Then I'm going to select the bottom face and I'm going to narrow it in the Y, SY. I like to pinch it in and then take this and rotate it around the X a bit. RX and push, actually. I want it to come out. Instead of them straight, I want to do it like that a little bit. And yeah, that's okay. Might scale it in the X a bit. Nah, that's probably fine. Pull it up near the top. Just sticks out a little bit on the side. And we could take this and go 0.005, maybe a little bit less of a bevel on that. Okay. Let's take this and add an array. We're going to do it negative in the Z, so I'm going to pull it down. I'm holding Shift and I'm pulling to the left. Let's zero out that. And I'm going to start adding sections, but because we have the bevel on, we really actually need the array up higher. See the way it moved? So to get a more accurate sense, we need to do that. I'm going to pull it up so they're a little tighter. Let's just see how it looks. If we come down, maybe not quite that much. How does that look? I mean, it's not going to be exactly the same as this. We have that. I kind of like it. The only thing is we wanted to go further down. I think what I can do is I come in here and I'll select that one and let's scale in the Z and hold Shift and just pull it down to there like that. All right, I'm going to apply the array and we'll see if I take this and join it to here, Control J, it comes back with that bevel, but I think that looks okay. And so I'm going to leave it like that. So now let's take the knob and let's Shift D to duplicate, G to move it. I'm just going to do this by eye, position it. Let's move this out and see. See, the problem is it may hit the other one, but let's give it a try. Yeah, I think we're going to hit. So what I'm going to do, should we go into edit mode, switch to individual origins, and then we can scale them independently, or individually really, S. So what if I scale them all down? If I scale this one down, is that too small on the drawer? Yeah, I think it is. So instead, I'm going to switch back to median point, select, let's Control L, let's P to break this one out, make sure it's its own object. I'm back in median point. I'm just going to scale this one. I can scale Shift Y if I don't want it to go in any further. Let's just see if that works. I'm going to take this one. We need to reset our cursor. So Shift S, cursor to select it on this central piece. Take this and set the origin to the 3D cursor and add a mirror. What am I doing? Generate mirror. Okay, I don't see any problem with that. And that fits. I think we'll probably stay with that. So it'll be bigger here, and you can make it even a little bit bigger if you want to now that we're doing it this way. Double check this first of all. Yeah, okay. Recalculate outside. Everybody is facing the right way. All right, we're just about ready to position this stuff, but before I forget, let's come back to this guy. And I want to push this one down just a little bit more so it's making contact, and then slash key. And I want to get rid of the bottom face. We're not going to need that, so it's just a very basic piece. See, we don't even realize that. And this one, I said I was going to come back and get rid of the bottom face on that. There we go. Make sure we're saving. I'm going to mirror this drawer over, but first of all, I'm going to move that out. You may not want to have them out the same distance, but I'm going to do that for the time being just to make it simple. So I'm going to generate a mirror, and that's going to put that one over there. It should be right. And then I'm going to apply the mirror and break it out. Now I'm going to come in here, select a piece, Control L, P to separate it. So now I can do whatever I want. Before I move it though, I'm going to take this and I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor, and I'm going to mirror that over, and then I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to break this out. Select a bit, Control L to get it all, P to break it out. Once again, I can't join this because that will change my bevel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to parent it to the drawer. So I'm going to select this, hold Shift and select that, Control P, parent to object. Now I can select the drawer and I can move it, and the knob goes with it. I'm going to do the same with this one. Select that, Shift, select that, Control P, and my dogs are barking. All right. I'm going to do the same thing with these. So this is mirrored over. I may want these in different orientations. So I'm going to apply this mirror, and I'm going to select as much of this as I can, Control L, P, and break it out. So this one is separated from that one. These are mirrored, so I'm going to apply the mirror to that one. Come in here, do the same thing. Control L, P. And again, I don't want to just join them. Control J. You see I changed my bevel there. So I'm going to parent them. Select this and this. Control P, set parent. And this one, not that. Control P, there. And now I can move these drawers. I can also, set the origin to geometry on that. And I can move it back. And you can see the dotted line, right? So I'm going to move it back to here. And then I want to rotate it out. So I'm going to come into edit mode and select that edge. It's hard to see, but I've selected an inside edge. Shift S, cursor to selected. Come up to my thing here, switch that to 3D cursor, and I'm going to rotate in the Z. Let's do it in object. Rotate in the Z, and the knob will come with it. And this one I may just leave closed, so I'm going to select this. And I can go back to median point and set the origin to geometry. And I'm just going to push that in to around there. Save. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to take this whole thing and pull it up. And Shift C to bring my 3D cursor back to there. Let's turn on the shadow. And let's try maybe that matte cap just to have a look at it. I haven't shade smooth everything, and really what I would do, because I want to texture this at some point, is I'm going to apply the mirror. Okay, and I don't have to break these pieces out, but you know, I'll unwrap this one separately from this one, and you know, I want all the pieces to be, you know, separate pieces. And we got rid of extra faces, so I think we're good there. And that is that pretty much. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll come back in the next video and I will figure out what I want to do with respect to texturing. We'll unwrap it and I'll probably texture it in Substance Painter. All right, so we'll do that, and I'll make some of this stuff available to you. Of course, the reference image is going to be on the Patreon later. As soon as I post this on YouTube, it'll be up there so you can model along with me if you'd like to. Very simple but fun to do, and of course necessary in a lot of your you know, architectural type scenes. All right, thanks for watching, and see you next time.